Much of this Hegelian account of early man will sound very strange to modern eras, particularly his identification of the willingness to risk one's life in a battle for pure prestige as the most basic human trait. For isn't the willingness to risk one's life simply a primitive social custom that has long since passed out of the world along with dueling and revenge murders? In our world, there are still people who run around risking their lives in bloody battles over a name, over a flag, or a piece of clothing, but they tend to belong to gangs with names like the Bloods or the Crips and make their living dealing drugs or else living in countries like Afghanistan. In what sense can a man who is willing to kill and be killed over something of purely symbolic value or over prestige or recognition be said to be more deeply human than someone who more sensibly backs down at a challenge and submits his claim to peaceful arbitration or to the courts? The importance of the willingness to risk one's life in a battle for prestige can only be understood if we contemplate more deeply Hegel's view of the meaning of human freedom. In the Anglo Saxon liberal tradition familiar to us, there is a common sense understanding of freedom as something like the simple absence of restraint. Thus, according to Thomas Hobbes, liberty or freedom signifies properly the absence of opposition. By opposition, I mean external impediments of motion, and may be applied no less to irrational and inanimate creatures than to rational. By this definition, a rock rolling down a hill and a hungry bear wandering around in the woods without constraint would both be said to be free. But in fact, we know that the tumbling of the rock is determined by gravity and the slope of the hill, just as the behavior of the bear is determined through the complex interaction of a variety of natural desires, instincts, and needs. A hungry bear foraging for food in the forest is free only in a formal sense. It has no choice but to respond to its hunger and instincts. Bears typically do not stage hunger strikes on behalf of higher causes. The behaviors of the rock and the bear are determined by their own physical natures and by the natural environment around them. In that sense, they are like machines programmed to operate by a certain set of rules, the ultimate rules being the fundamental laws of physics.